Welcome to the story of an amateur painter on the way to miniature perfection. The command set from last week, composed by Captain and Standard Bearer, is fully coated, shadowed, and their armor is blended from Macra Grey Blue to Calgar Blue. This week we are going through highlights and special effects. Let's start from the body, picking up all the protruding parts of the miniature. For the power armor, I start by drawing lines with Calgar Blue that follow the borders of the plates. But Calgar Blue alone will not make it. In fact, it is a desaturated color, it is closer to grey than to blue, and also is the same color of our initial shade, so the line would disappear on certain areas. Therefore, I added a small line of Teclis Blue on top of the first highlight. To finish it off, I prepared a 1-to-1 mix of Teclis Blue and Ceramite White. That is deployed on the top parts of the highlight or where the highlights intersect. Here is the difference in a picture comparing on the right the starting point and on the left the end of the process. We have two helms to take care of, one under the arm of the captain and the other it's the head of the standard bearer. Let's start from the standard bearer and highlight it with white. I shaded the forefront and some details on the helm. Then I prepared the eyes with a large white dot in the middle. We will use Waywatcher green, which is very translucent, so the white dot will give the impression of a central glow below the green. After a couple of green layers, place a small white dot, a lens flare, to finish it up. Finally, I watered down the green and place a thin line below and above the eye sockets to represent the luminescence. I'm new to object source lighting, so I don't want to overdo it and left it barely visible. The other helm is below the arm, so I imagine the light coming from a 45-degree angle and try to visualize the shape of the shadow. It does not have to be perfect, but it has to be interesting, so I've added here and there. So, long story short for the head, I started with a very greenish yellowish color, which is an elder skin tone and I don't know why, I just messed it up. Then I prepared the correct mix of pallid witch flesh and Cadian flesh tone. I go back and forth with the red ink and the flesh tone to create blends. When I'm halfway through, it's time for the eyes. I use a special brush for the eyes and face details. It's small enough that you can place a white line in the eye socket. After that, the pupils are just two black dots which should be slightly closer to the center so that they leave more white on the external part of the eye. In case of errors, contour the eyes again with the skin tone. Finally, I finish off the blending. I'm almost satisfied, the right side of the face is pretty neat. Instead, the left side has a rough transition, but I call it done. Now it's time to go through the leather details and the other armor parts, like the forearms and the backpacks. We'll just flash through these, since it's the same process already employed on the body. At this stage I started to highlight the gold. I prefer to keep it golden gold, so the base coat is done with Gehenna gold and I highlight with Auric Armor gold. While I was doing this, that sneaky metal paint contaminated everything. No panic. I actually like the black and gold bracer, so I'll work on that and remove all the errors from the blade. For the monitor, I place a white background with red lines. Over that, I'll deploy Spirit Stone Red Technical Paint, which is transparent and translucent, so the white and red stripes below it will be visible and will create a nice effect. To close it up, I deploy some lens flare in the form of tiny white lines, and here it is. For the cape, we want to exaggerate the dark and light contrast, so I start by placing null oil shadows in the deepest recesses. Then, with Waska Red, we light up the most exposed part of the cape. Finally, with pure Troll's Lair Orange, we place the brightest highlights. Last but not least for this week, the bases. My Ultramarine army is deployed on a desert planet, because I'm a fan of Dune, so the base will be a mix of sand and hard terrain. I start by placing the Agrellan earth and let it dry. When it's ready, I put on the glue for the sand and dive the base into the sandbox. Last, I choose from a terrain sprue some details to add. Given the dimension of the base, I'll go with the smallest ones. And here they are. I enjoyed painting this command set. The biggest improvement for me would be to sculpt and clean the model before throwing paint at it. The capes and the greaves have molding lines which I didn't remove and harm the fluency of the miniature. Did you see anything else can improve? Please let me know. I didn't manage to attack the banner, but it's a big freehand and it may be an interesting episode on its own. Stay frosty.